There are no free lunches. This is a phrase that was said by some guy in the 19th century, but it was really popularized by economists who wanted to illustrate a point that a lot of the things we think are free in life are not actually free. Think about healthcare. We talk about, in Canada, healthcare is free. No, we pay for it with our taxes. Sometimes people say public school is free. Also no, we pay for it with taxes. In fact, if you go to Jewish school, you pay twice. You pay for public school that you're not using in your taxes, and then you pay your yeshiva day school tuition. But even when there's not a clear price tag attached to something, like something you would scan your credit card for, there's still an implied price. Because everything you spend your time doing, there's something you could be doing that you're not doing. You're paying in the thing you're not doing. That's the cost of what you choose to do. So let me pose this question to you. Is social media free? I mean, like, you don't have a subscription fee for Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or Twitter or, all that jazz. You don't have to pay for it. You just download it and it's there. Thinking like an economist, the obvious answer is no. Because you're paying with your time. If you haven't seen it, I'm totally drawing off of The Social Dilemma, the new documentary on Netflix that looks inside social media companies and informs us about what their goals are as a business. It turns out they're trying to addict us because ultimately our time is a really valuable commodity. The more time we spend on social media, the more they can learn about us. The more they learn about us, the more they group us with billions of other people based on certain interests or trends that we have. And then they can feed us certain information based on the people we like and the people we know. Ultimately, they are able to monetize or sell our data. That is, all the stuff about us that companies that want to sell us stuff would really like to know. So we're paying Instagram with our time. And the more time we give them, the more we're paying them. Now that's all fine and good if we choose to spend our time that way. Are we choosing this expense? Is this what we want to pay? Now this is a trickier question than you might think. You might say, of course I'm choosing. I do it. Obviously I'm choosing to do it. But could you stop it? Could you stop using it if you want to? Think about that for a minute. While we're on the topic of choice, I want to pose a question that was originally posed by an 18th century philosopher named Immanuel Kant. He asked us the following question. What is freedom? What does it mean to be free? Let's take two people. The first person wakes up in the morning, he does whatever he feels like doing that day. He wants to go for a drive, he goes for a drive. He wants to grab a bite to eat, he grabs a bite to eat. He wants to watch a movie, he watches a movie. No one tells him what to do. He does whatever he wants. Is this the pinnacle of freedom? Or is it the second person? The second person doesn't do what he wants to do, but he does what he has accepted to do as a core piece of responsibility. Meaning, he's accepted things upon himself, like, let's say, to exercise in the morning, to write every day, to talk to his parents, to call friends and check in on them. Sometimes he doesn't feel like doing these things. In fact, they're a burden. He wakes up in the morning and he's tired and he doesn't want to go for a run. But he does it because he's chosen to accept that responsibility upon himself. So who's more free? The person who does what he wants or the person who does what he's responsible to do? Kant's great insight is that the second person is actually the free person and the first person is the slave. The person who does whatever he desires in a given moment is a slave to his desire. He's a slave to the animal within himself, to the instincts that drive him. He has no ability to do something differently than whatever his body is telling him to do in a given moment. It's the second person who's truly free, because he overcomes his desires by his own free choice and accepts responsibility and expectations. The ultimate expression of free will, according to Kant, is mind over body. It's choosing consciously what you want to do over unconsciously what your body desires. Rashi at the beginning of this week's Parshat asks a pretty famous question, which is, why does the Torah start with the whole story of creation and Adam and Chava and Noach and Avram? The purpose of the Torah is mitzvot. Just start with mitzvot. Tell us what the mitzvot are, and we're good. There are a lot of answers offered to this question, but one that resonates with me is the idea that if you look at the flow of the narrative from Sefer Berishit as we head into the Torah, there is a clear trend in the text from chaos to order, from tohu vavohu to the creation of human beings and to God giving human beings rules and responsibilities to live by. I think Kant's insight illustrates fundamentally what's going on here. The Torah doesn't just want to give us mitzvot without us understanding the context. To be a human being is to be free, and to be free is to accept responsibility, to push aside your daily desires for a bigger purpose, for a bigger goal, for a God-ordered universe. So are you choosing social media, or is social media choosing you? Is this your free human choice to spend your time this way? Or are you a slave to your device and the desires that your device is initiating in you every moment as it's addicting your brain through complicated algorithms? So I have an idea on how to answer this question. WWKD, what would Kant do? First, I think his head would explode if he saw social media. But after that, I think he would say, if you want to test if you're truly free, stop. Take 1 day a week where you turn off your phone, and in that day, you accept upon yourself certain responsibilities. Responsibilities to your community, responsibilities to your family, and most importantly, responsibilities to yourself. You commit yourself to certain things you want to do. And then, when the day is over, ask yourself, did you feel more or less free that day? Shabbat Shalom, everyone.